This video was made in association with KnifeInformer.com. Head on over to Knife Informer for all of your blade-related needs, including reviews, comparisons, stats, and more. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Collection Commentary. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this awesome JD Van Deventer frame lock front flipper. I just want to start off by saying that this review or this video isn't going to be the most objective thing. This knife was kind of new for me on a few different levels, and so because I don't have a lot of experience with things to compare it to, I wouldn't think that it would be fair for me to start trying to say objective things about it, or really give you guys a frame of reference. But what I can say is that compared to the knives that I am familiar with, it's a really exciting knife, and I'm super happy with it. So I'm just going to kind of jump in. It's not going to be quite as frameworked with features and flaws and everything. I just want to tell you guys a few things that make me excited about the knife, and I do have some things that are going to be worth comparing it to coming on the horizon. So maybe I'll be able to revisit this knife or talk about it alongside some of those other knives where I'll be able to start building a frame of reference for myself for this style of knife. So the two things that I had not explored before were one, a flipper that's on washers. I've had knives on washers, but never a flipper on washers. And then two, a front flipper, which I've never owned before. The first front flippers that I got to try were at Blade Show, and I literally failed to open every single one of them, and it was one of the most embarrassing things ever. Every front flipper I got handed, there's a guy, his name starts with a C, he's a maker. I can't remember his name right now, but he's very popular. Chad Challenor, is that his name? Oh, I'm going to be so embarrassed if I got it wrong, but obviously I'll edit it in to the video. I got handed one of his front flippers, and I completely failed to open it. I got handed a Kaiser Feist, and I completely failed to open it. And I feel like there was a couple other ones that got handed as well, and I just had a miserable time. And so I was really concerned about front flippers in general. I just didn't think they were for me. Couldn't figure out why I couldn't figure it out. But anyway, I interestingly was browsing African Custom Knives, which for those of you guys who don't know, I do chat with them a lot, and I think they're great guys, and that is where I got this. Actually, it's not where I got this knife, but I got a different version of this knife from them, and it's always a pleasure to work with them. And so this video is not sponsored or anything, but I definitely recommend you guys go check out African Custom Knives, because they just are super fun to talk to. They're really easy to work with. They know their stuff, and boy, they get their hands on some really, really cool South African pieces. So definitely go check out their website. But anyway, moving on. I was browsing their website, and I knew that I wanted to try something from JD. I'm big into the South African maker thing right now. You can see out of these knives, I didn't even plan this, but I have 1, 2, 3 South African knives right in front of me. So I'm definitely a big fan. Well, 4, I guess, if you include the front flipper. But anyway, so I was browsing their website. I knew I wanted a JD, and so I was looking at his stuff, and they had one of these in G10. It had kind of an indigo anodization to the titanium side, and it was this beautiful polished black G10 on the show side. I actually have that knife in a video. It's in one of my South African sneak peeks, so if you want to see what that knife looked like, you can jump back to that video and check it out. But I absolutely fell in love with the knife right away. It was so smooth. I was blown away for it being on washers, how well it flipped and everything. I was just so impressed with how soft and smooth the G10 was, and just the workmanship on it was great, and I was super excited. It had a working finish on the blade, which I was really stoked about, and I definitely planned on making it a user for me. And I had the knife, when I was on the website, it was on sale, and I think it was on sale from like $3 something to $210 or whatever, $350 to $210, and that was a really big discount. And so I was like, well, this is definitely the right opportunity. I don't think I would spend $350 on a knife I wasn't sure about in G10 that's on washers, but when I saw the discount, I was like, come on, there's no way I can't do that. So I went ahead and purchased the knife, and then I had it for a couple of days, and an Instagram follower of mine, I'm just going to start playing with the knife. I realized I've been chatting with it just sitting here, but I realized that or an Instagram follower of mine came along and said that they were interested in the knife, and I told them where they could find it. I sent them a link to one, I think, on Blade HQ, and it was obviously full price. And they said that that wasn't super affordable for them. So I went ahead and let them know that they could purchase the G10 version from me at the discounted price of $210, and I would go ahead and upgrade to this Lightning Strike carbon fiber version, which was on Blade HQ as well. You guys know that I tend towards dressier stuff. I initially didn't want to spend the full $400 on this because I wasn't sure about it. It's a pretty small piece. You know, it's somewhat plain, more plain compared to other things that I have, and so I wasn't super sure about spending $400 right out the gate. But once I fell in love with the G10 version, you know, I was like, okay, upgrading to a full dress version is the right thing for me. That's definitely what I want to do. So he went ahead and purchased that knife off of me for the $210, and then I went ahead and bought this knife from Blade HQ, and I could not be happier, guys. Again, this thing is on washers. It is so incredibly snappy. This thing fires with so much attitude, and it's such a little, you know, gentleman's knife, and you initially look at it and you're like, oh, that's cute, you know, that's sweet. I bet you know, like to roll that out and use it like a old man, but I mean, you don't even have to get a good hit on it. You really just unlock it, snap it back from that detent, and this thing fires out with absolute total force. It's really incredible, and it's just way more force than you might expect with something as tiny as this, and kind of as I don't know, this thing looks pretty docile, you know, but man, it really fires. So I'm super happy with that. I'm incredibly impressed with how well the knife fires. And then more than that, with the washers, and again, this is kind of where we get into what I said at the beginning of the video. I don't have a lot of frame of reference. I haven't owned any other flippers on washers. And so the fact that I can just lightly snap this thing shut with a little shake, no harder of a shake than I would have to apply to even something like this A3. The pivot's a little loose on this right now. You can see the centering's a little off. I was playing around with the action on this one, but even this requires a bit of a wrist flick, and pretty much the same amount of wrist flick that I need on this. So I'm super impressed with it. And again, I look forward to getting a better frame of reference with both front flippers and washer knives. But gosh, this has to be on the upper echelon of what you can get in those realms. I mean, it just really is super impressive. And so it's a great little gentleman folder. The thing that I really like to do with this knife is dual carry it with another flipper. And what I actually do is the clip is pretty nice. It's deep carry. And what I'm actually able to do is slide this into my pocket in this position. So I just kind of like clip it on the inside up against the roof of my pocket. So I would have a knife clipped to the side of my pocket like this, and then this one would be above it, kind of clipped like that. And it stays. It doesn't move around. It doesn't wiggle. It doesn't slowly get down and start clanking against my other knife. And so I'm actually able to carry two knives in one pocket just like this. And that's my favorite thing to do with it. I love it. I love bringing it along with me. I love being able to whip it out as an alternative to some of the pocket swords that I walk around with. I think the Lightning Strike carbon fiber is absolutely gorgeous. You know, it's a material that I've really come to love. Obviously, it's not specific to JD or anything, but Lightning Strike just really just gets me going. I think it's such an impressive material, and I really think that this piece was done very well. It shined up very well. It's very smooth. There's no voids or anything that I can detect. You can catch your fingernail a little bit on it, but you know, nothing that is abnormal at all. And it's contoured very well up around the front here. And so this is all very smooth. It's not a 90-degree angle. And yeah, I'm just overall really happy and impressed with the knife. I like that the pivot matches, the pivot and the screws match the Lightning Strike carbon fiber. I like the way the knife looks, the profile of it and everything. I do wish that this titanium side was anodized dark indigo like it was on the G10 version. That's my only bummer about upgrading to this one. But maybe I'll get this
anodized by somebody relatively soon. I don't know. I might just leave it the way it is. But that's it, guys. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Again, I appreciate you letting me indulge and talk about this knife, considering the fact that I don't really have a good frame of reference for it, and I don't know too much about what I'm saying. But I just really like this piece. If you were on the fence about getting one of these front flippers, I absolutely recommend it. It's totally worth paying full price. There's a couple more available on both Blade HQ and Blade Gallery, I believe, and then I don't think there's any other frame lock flippers left on Arizona Custom Knives, but they do have some friction folders that are the same style that are a lot cheaper in G10. So if you're looking for a cheaper alternative and you don't necessarily need it to be a screaming front flipper, they have some friction folders available at a very decent price. And then I do know that JD is on his way over for USN show, and I think New York Custom Knife Show. I'll have to double check on that one. But so everybody should be picking up some more of his knives after those shows, so definitely keep your eyes out. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you'd like to see awesome pictures of any of these beautiful knives with all this lightning strike carbon fiber going on, definitely feel free to follow me on Instagram. And of course, if you would like to send me a lovely loaner, I would very much appreciate it, and you can do so by emailing me at tovarishworks@gmail.com. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you next time.